Hi, today I thought I'd take you around the little app that we built. We call it Lattice Gate, and it's for the tape community. When you make an API call to get a record from tape, then it comes back with quite a detailed JSON object in the response, which also can change its formatting depending on whether the field is empty or not. So this causes a few people some issues when they're trying to connect to external services. So we built a little API middleware that sits in the middle between the tape API and an external service. What it does is it makes the call to tape for you, and then reduces and standardizes the response that you get back, which makes it far easier in certain external services to extract the data that you actually want and put it into the service. So with all that said, let's take a little look around the system. We tried to keep this as simple as possible, so when you first land on the starting page, you're just asked to put in your tape API key. We encrypt it straight away. Once you put it in, it will go and get all your workspaces. So you just get a list of all the workspaces that are in your organization that you have access to. You select one, and that will take you to all the apps within that workspace. These are loaded directly from tape as you go, so we'll update accordingly. Once you are in with the apps, you can select an app, and that then displays all of the fields which are within the app. From there you set your order that you wish them to be in your API call. You can just use the arrows to move up and down. Once that order is set, then any time you call the API, those fields will always be delivered in that order. And if they're empty, then you will still get the field, but it will say null. Once you're happy with the order of those fields, then you can click the Create Endpoint button. This will take you to a new screen, giving you an API key and a URL. So now we have our app set up, and we're given an API key and the endpoint to call. Let's have a look at how we actually use it. So if we copy out our API key and our endpoint, you're also going to need this X API key because that's going to go in the header. We'll copy out our endpoint and save those somewhere safe, ready to use. Now if we have a look down the bottom, it gives you an example curl that you would need to make, and also there's an option to download the setup summary, which is quite handy because we can it gives you all the information. So if we download that now, and we'll have a quick little look at it. Great, so now we've got those downloaded. Let's have a quick look at the file. It basically just duplicates what you've got on the screen, but it does mean that you've got it nice and safe and easy to find, because you won't be shown that API key again. So once you've lost it, you have to start all over again. As you can see from on the screen, you've just got basically the same information as you had in the web page. Right, let's jump over to Postman and actually start using some of what we've got. So if we start building our request from the information that we copied out, so we take our endpoint, paste it in, it's a get that we're going to use. Let's go over to tape, find the record ID for one of the records that we want to look at. So we'll just copy it out of the developer info right there, jump back to Postman and stick it on the end of your URL that you got. Just paste that in, hit send, and oh, we've forgotten our API key. So go to the headers, add a new header of XAPI. There you go, it's there. And paste in your API key that you copied out of the web page or out of your file. Drop it into the header, and let's try sending again. And there we have our file information, our record information. So you can see it's quite nice and neat. You've got the record ID, the title, and the fields and their values. And underneath that you also have a field order. So that's the field order that was set on the web page, and that's the order in which the fields will always be delivered in the response. So it really is as simple as that. All it's doing is basically translating your simple call into the tape one. You've also got in the headers in your response the rate limits, how many you've got remaining and when they reset. So how does it look in comparison to the tape call? So if we create a new tape call, and we'll do this correct, we'll call the details of the same record as we've done via Lattice Gate, but we'll just do it direct to tape. That's the tape record ID, and then we're going to need some authorization. So if we stick in the headers and authorize, and our tape API key can drop in there. And then we'll call that. And as you can see, the response from tape is substantially larger and more complex, which is only half the battle. And the next battle is that if one of those fields is null, it will throw the order out. So if your system is only able to pull the data from your response via the field order, then it just messes everything up. So yeah, that's the one that you'll get from the system, and that's the one that you would get if you went straight to tape. So all it does is basically it just sits in the middle and simplifies the API calls and the responses that you're going to get. If we go back and have a look at what happens if you want to edit the app or something along those lines. So if we just put in our API key again, and it logs on, it sees the API key's already been used and just gives you the setup that's already there. You can add another app, or you can edit one that's there and change the field order and update the endpoint. Hopefully you find it of use. Thanks for watching.